Hey, you guys, we are live right now. I'm going to be doing a show about entrepreneurship with Futurpreneur Canada. Stay tuned right after this. All right, you guys, we are live. Excited for this show. I'm just sharing it right now. On my socials. So yeah, you guys, 4-part series with Futurpreneur Canada, and we're talking with Noah Wilson, who works with them. And there he goes, Noah Wilson, a Futurpreneur who is the Indigenous component of Futurpreneur Canada and works with entrepreneurs and getting everyone started and guiding them. So without further ado, we're going to get right to it. Welcome, man. Welcome. Oh, I got you on mute. There you go.
Hi, Bojo, Anin, Tansei. How is everyone doing today? Happy to be here, Nathan, as always. It's a pleasure to speak with you today and share a little bit more about entrepreneurship, especially as an Indigenous person myself and a business development manager who has the privilege and luxury of working with Indigenous entrepreneurs across Manitoba and Saskatchewan, which is the region I cover. But my organization covers all of Canada, which is absolutely fantastic. So if there's anyone listening, I have other colleagues. I'll just kind of quickly introduce them. My other colleague is Justin Holness. He covers Ontario eastward, and my sister Sammy, she covers Sammy Zorb. She covers Alberta westward to BC there. But and I'm covering Manitoba and Saskatchewan, like I said. And I work with Indigenous entrepreneurs to help them get to the next stage of launching their business, or if they've already launched businesses that have launched within 12 months or who have been operational within 12 months. We focus on pre-launch businesses and early stage businesses, so businesses who are relatively new to the market and are looking to kind of expand their operations. But, it's an absolute pleasure to be here and. Looking forward to our conversation today.
Yeah, me as well, Noah. Yeah, real excited because a lot of people are interested in becoming entrepreneurs. A lot have become entrepreneurs since the pandemic started in, well, let's say February or March 2020, but everyone else thinks it started a lot before that. But yeah, entrepreneurship is big. And I've always believed, and I still believe it to this day, that Indigenous people will become the forefront of the economy in Canada through entrepreneurship, and organizations like Futurpreneur will be the ones to help us guide us through.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more, Nathan. And I was actually just having a conversation today with some of my colleagues in the field, and we were talking about, the future of Indigenous entrepreneurship. And I think one of the conversations we left off with, last time we had the chance to have a podcast was, the enormous opportunity in the market. Up to nearly 30 billion a year we could add or we do add to the market in terms of Indigenous entrepreneurs, and it's only going to be growing. So it's very exciting time, and really what I kind of ended off with the conversation with my colleagues there was, historically Indigenous peoples have been the most underserved communities in all of Canada for various reasons, legal, just access or, location. But ultimately, the truth of the matter is that we're the most underserved communities across Canada, as we have been and we continue to be, unfortunately. But on that note, that also means that there's an enormous opportunity for Indigenous entrepreneurs to fill those service gaps within their communities, and to basically be able to be, the ones who provide those services for those communities. Because, business in the simplest sense is, you see a problem or a gap in your local community, and you can have the opportunity to fill that gap. And really the sad thing is that many of our communities have to outsource services to organizations or businesses that are non-Indigenous, when we have brilliant, very motivated Indigenous folks within those communities who have the potential to fill those gaps. So very, very exciting times.
Yeah, definitely. So we did talk. I introduced Noah on a previous podcast about 2 weeks ago, I think. Is that about 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
and,
time flies.
Yeah, time flies. Time flies. Oh, I want to give a shout out to Snipe and Sally in Flying Dust First Nation, who do my clothing. Just showing my one of my logo and everything going on. So big shout out to Snipe and Sally. Somewhere to say. And Ogamau Clothing will also make it. So I am going to do a video about them. They're more other Indigenous entrepreneurs that are getting into the scene of making clothing and great prices and everything. So we always got to support each other and help each other grow. So yeah, big shout out to them. I am going to do a video about them and their clothing. So looking forward to that. But we're not going to get into another podcast. This is a part 1 of 4 with Noah, and it's basically going to tell you guys, he's going to explain to you like how Futurpreneur Canada here can help you guys along the way, and he can help guide you. And there is money right now available, I think till June 30th, I believe, right? Do you know anything about that? Could you get into that, or?
So June, sorry, could you say that again?
That money there, that I forget what it is, but the government allocated money for entrepreneurs that were affected by the COVID and the pandemic and everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of resources out there, and one of the great spots you can find it in terms of anything grant wise is if you go online. It's called the Business Benefits Finder.
Okay.
Yeah, so I could even show. I'll share my screen if you let me. I'll just quickly, because it's a great resource, and I'll kind of just quickly give that a plug in case you want to find business resources. Business resources.
Yeah. So while he's doing that, I read something, and I was gonna apply for this back in like 2020 when they started announcing it. First they announced 20. No, first they announced 40. And then they brought in another 20,000 because they realized it wasn't enough. So there is money out there that the government is providing that you guys can utilize. I think, but you have to be an entrepreneur. I think your business had to be, already established at a certain date. So just going out to everyone that does have a business. But going forward, like I said, no one's gonna help let us know about more cool things of how you can start your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do want to show you on that note in terms of resources and how you can find resources from the Canadian government or really anywhere. I'm just going to share my screen in a second here.
Yep.
I have it pulled up. It's my little Chrome tab. So I'm going to share on that note. So if you Google Business Benefits Finder, and what you can do is you basically just it's kind of a computer that will help you find government support based on your need. It's a really good resource for you to kind of finding the particular resources you want for your business. So
what's the website called?
If you just Google business benefits finder, you'll be able to find it, and you can find tailored solutions for your business. It's a really good service.
Business benefits finder.
Yeah, I always put on my entrepreneurs to this because it's a great finding the right programs and services, whether you're starting out or scaling up. So it's a great spot where you can find any resource instead of having to Google over the place and find it wherever. Yeah. So, oops, I'll stop sharing that screen there and come back.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it's a great resource. Just hold on one second. I think, can you hear the background there? I'm just gonna, this is one of the challenges of working at home. So I'll just be 1 second there, okay?
Yeah, no, do your thing. Yeah, you guys. So he just showed a thing. He's gonna come right back here. He's like I said, we are live, so anything can happen. He just showed you Google Business Benefits Finder, and you can find something that will help you find money. Right? Is that what that does?
Yeah. So it helps you find really, it helps you find resources that are in a centralized place for your business for wherever you are. So it's a good spot instead of having to kind of Google all over the place and try to find the spots or the resources for you. It's kind of an easy place that you can find that. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys, there you guys go. Google Business. I'm actually gonna, after this, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, it's a great resource. Yeah.
So like I said, we are gonna do, this is episode 1 of 4, and we are gonna go live every Tuesday. So it's June 8th right now, and then every Tuesday for the next 4 Tuesdays in June here, we are going to be going live at 7 p.m. Saskatchewan time and talk about 4 different stages. Or no, we're doing 4 podcasts, of entrepreneurship and futurepreneurs. So yeah, excited for this. So let's get, is there anything that you want to say? You said you wanted to plug something before we get going here?
Yeah. Before I get going, so I have 2 really exciting events coming up. So I'm going to share my screen for that. The one that's happening this Thursday, it's going to be dedicated to Saskatchewan entrepreneurs, just because the partners I'm working with are based in Saskatchewan. So I'm going to share my screen for that event, and then I'll show you another workshop I'll be holding at the end of the month. Just hold on, let me share my screen. Super exciting event. So this is how to become a First Nation entrepreneur in Saskatchewan. Mainly, I serve Manitoba and Saskatchewan, and our organization shows different communities. But I try to create regional events, and I'll hold ones for Manitoba and different communities throughout the year. I help serve First Nation, Métis, and Inuit communities, but the reason why it's focused on First Nation entrepreneurs is because of the partner Saskatchewan Indian Equity Foundation, which is an absolutely great organization that I partner with closely. And they strategically focus on the First Nation communities, but I also partner with other organizations that serve our other Indigenous communities. But very, very excited for this presentation because it's going to be showing not only how Futurpreneur can help you, also Square One, which is a really great business development organization as well. And like I said, the Saskatchewan Indian Equity Foundation, and how all of us really are here to support First Nations entrepreneurs. And I think the best part of this whole presentation is that we're going to have Destiny Peter, who's an absolutely amazing entrepreneur, very inspiring. She opened up Tangles and Hair Beauty Salon, and she's going to be there to give the experience of her successful entrepreneurial journey. She's actually opening another shop up in Moose Jaw, but her original location was in Regina, Saskatchewan. So very, very exciting. This will be an event for you if you're aspiring or a current First Nations entrepreneur from Saskatchewan. You have a business idea you're looking to develop. You're wanting to how to access capital as a First Nations entrepreneur, because us, Futurpreneur and CEF, are both able to finance, and then Square One and as well as Futurpreneur are able to help you build that business plan. So very, very exciting event. That's happening this Thursday, 4:30 to 5:30. That's Saskatchewan time. There's still time to register, so don't miss out. And then if you do want to have more of an in-depth workshop and work with me and my colleague who's the entrepreneur in residence, I recommend that you follow up that webinar and register for the following one here. I'm just going to share my screen again. All right, so this is launching my Indigenous startup. So this is a 2-day workshop It's
And you
going to
guys might go back to the picture there. You guys might recognize her.
Yes, absolutely. The founder of She Native Goods, which is amazing. But she's an inspiration for a lot of our entrepreneurs. But this is going to be an event starting 1 p.m. Winnipeg time. So it's important that all of you remember to select a date and then add it to your calendar, because it should convert to the location you're from.
Where's the link? Sorry, where do they register on this?
You could just type in "launching my Indigenous startup" and you should be able to pop up on Google. But what I'll also do is I will post both of these on your Facebook plugin, as well as our Futurpreneur page, and I'll just quickly show you where you can find that Futurpreneur Facebook page, because I know a lot of our Indigenous communities are on Facebook, which is awesome. It's a great place to just connect. So if you go to financing and mentorship on our website and then look for Indigenous Entrepreneurs, it'll take you to the link where you can sign into the Facebook community group, if you can see that there. So it's right on our website. Remember, so if you just go to this will be the normal page here. Go to financing and mentorship, look for the Indigenous Entrepreneurs, and then you'll find the Futurpreneur Canada Indigenous community there. We're looking to boost up the membership there, so don't be afraid to join. And I will also post it on your great Facebook page as well. So it'll be a good spot that all you can join. But that'll be a 2-day workshop. Make sure you register for both of them, because one supports the other, and it'll be a really great starting point. We're going to go over the 3 pillars of the business plan. So that's really dialing in your product and service, really dialing in your sales process, and how to kind of really make sales, which is important for the survival of your business, and then how those 2 things will ultimately help you create your financials, which is usually the hardest part. And we're literally going to go through the cash flow template that we use to basically help support and finance entrepreneurs out there. So it'll be an amazing opportunity for entrepreneurs to really dive in and really get into the meat and potatoes of creating a business plan and financials. So it's those 2 are going to be great. The first one's more high level, how all of our communities are here to support you. The workshops are really diving into the nitty gritty of starting a business and building the business plan.
Yeah, I got 2 of my friends watching Spring Spirit. She has her own podcast, and she's launching her own startup. So, but also Waylon Arcan, I got some of his clothing, and I love this. I love his idea. It's a money leader clothing, eh? I don't know how he started. He's got a good story about it, but I've been giving him tips and ideas. And so, yeah, bro, if you watch these next 4 podcasts starting right now, plus enter those 2 events there that he's doing, man. And at the same time, you can help people find money as well, grants and whatever.
Absolutely. And it's a great place to just kind of get a high level view. But if you also just, if you register with Futurpreneur as an Indigenous entrepreneur, you get to work one-on-one with myself and my colleagues and our entrepreneurs and residents. And if you do get financing with us, which is a very important part of starting your business and making sure you have enough funds to get you through those learning curves when you start off. But once you actually get financing with us, we set you up with a mentor for 2 years after
and it's free, right?
Free. Working with me is free. Working with our entrepreneurs is free. The only thing that costs anything is the loan itself. But we have very good interest rates, the best on the market in terms of this type of financing. And the thing is, it's not secured, which basically means you don't have to put up your house or a car, like your assets or savings to be able to get our funding, which I have a background from Main Street banking, and that's not the case for most funding. So it's a great opportunity, absolutely.
Right on. So if you guys are just joining us, like I said, we're going to be doing, this is part 1 of 4 that we're going to be going live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And Noah's just going to be explaining different things at Futurpreneur right here in the background there. And it goes to help Indigenous entrepreneurs succeed in today's world. So we just like in the thing there, it said there's 4 stages of entrepreneurship that you're going to talk about. You want to dive into that, or is there anything else you want to plug before we get going on here?
No, I would just say everyone watching right now, feel free to reach out to me directly. And the best way to do that, and I'll just quickly do another, I guess I do have one more plug.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I'll show you how you can reach out to me and work with me directly. So
you know what we should do? Right where it says your name there, we should put your email.
That's true, eh? So I'll fill that in. Or my email is just noahwilson@futurpreneur.ca. I'll type that in.
Actually, just put it in the private chat here, and then I'll change your name there, edit your name, and I'll just put your email there.
Okay, yeah, I will do. But I'll show you where you can. I'll show you an easy way to get in contact with me, or how I will contact you. Maybe that's an easier way of putting it. So if you go to our Indigenous Entrepreneur page on futurepreneur.ca, so that's just futurepreneur.ca. There's no E there, so most people put the E there. So it's future, no E, preneur.ca. Make sure you join our group. And then if you sign up here to get connected with a business development expert, because you're on the Indigenous landing page here, you put your name, you put your location. If you're in Manitoba or Saskatchewan, you will be connected with me, but if you're in any other region, you will be with an Indigenous business development. And then you just submit, and you will be in my files, and I'll reach out to you. So just make sure you put your phone number, so I can give you a call, and your email, so I can follow up with an email. Another way you can do it is you go register, and then application portal, and then you want to register as an entrepreneur. This might be a better way to do it, to be honest, just because it gives you the initial eligibility to make sure you're eligible, and maybe we should just quickly go through that. You have to be between the ages of 18 and 39, but if you're not, that's okay. I can connect you with like SEEF. They don't have any age limits, and other organizations I work with don't have age limits, but we're focused on the future, and which is our youth, of course. And you'd want to be starting a business within the next year, or you've been working full time for a business less than a year, like I mentioned. This is an issue for all of our Indigenous entrepreneurs, because they are Indigenous to our lands. And if you're a student, you can be a student, but you'd have to be in your graduating year. But you can still work on your business plan and get it set up and kind of get ready to go. This is just more or less related to our financing. You would have to agree to a credit check from Futurpreneur, but that's later down the line. And this has just come up some other stipulations. But if you continue, you're just going to be able to go through the different information. Make sure, if you want to work with myself, an Indigenous business development expert, you select Indigenous and self-identify there, and just kind of tell me which community you're from, so I can know which business to or which partners I can partner up with. So just how to get started.
And don't be discouraged if you got bad credit. Majority of us have bad credit. Don't be discouraged. Get right in there. Do what you got to do. If you really want this, you won't let bad credit get in your way, which a lot of people think bad credit is just going to stop them from doing anything. It won't. Yeah,
and that's a great point. I'm really happy you brought that up, Nathan. Most of the time, entrepreneurs and bad credit scores are what we call thin files. So it just means that you haven't really established credit. You haven't had the opportunity to have what's called a credit facility, which is, could be anything in terms of you paying back something. So, if you have a car loan, that's a credit facility. If you have a credit card, that's a credit facility. And really, it's just a matter of time. It's like, either way, the process is going to help you identify what what kind of barriers are in your way. It's kind of like going to the doctors. You never really want to go, but once you find out, you're kind of relieved that there's some pathways and solutions forward.
Yeah.
Just a matter of going and figuring it out and just kind of facing the truth. And it's just a matter of time, really, my friends. So don't let that discourage you. And because I work with Indigenous entrepreneurs, even if your credit isn't in the best scenario, and we can't give you the full financing, which is up to $60,000. If your business plan is and your cash flows are viable, which I help you do, you can still access up to $5,000 minimum. So there's still enough to finance, even if your credit's not in the place. But it's just a matter of working with our partners and getting it to the place where it can be. So it's a matter of time.
Awesome. All right. So there you guys go. Don't worry about anything. Just start the process, get her done, figure it out. I can vouch for the bad credit, man. I think 2 years ago is when I started to finally take care of my credit. I was like at 450, like brutal. Owed money, owed stuff. I never wanted to do a credit check because I was just scared.
Yeah.
Checked it out. Finally, just started taking care of stuff, man. Boom, boom, boom. Got stuff now. Today, I checked my credit, 723.
Holy cow. That's what I mean.
Yeah, just you got to get it done, man. Like, it sucks, but
yeah,
you got to make some sacrifices, do what you got to do, pay this, pay that. Don't go out here because you got to pay this. So, just get it done.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Like, you're a perfect example of that. It's like it's like I said, like going to the doctors. You find out something like, hey, I mean, there's things I can do to make it better, and it's just a matter of doing it. And the funny thing is most creditors are willing to work with you. They're willing to set up payment plans. Once you pay off an old bill, that will really improve your credit score. Sometimes it's just kind of facing the truth, which is never easy. Easier said than done, that's for sure. But it's just a matter of time. Like Nathan, he's a great example, and certainly it took it. It's I didn't start off with great credit either. It's just a matter of working towards that goal, and no one really starts off with great credit. It's either you have thin credit or you made some mistakes. It's just a matter of kind of facing them. So it's that's a great point, Nathan. I'm glad you made that.
So what is it? Noah.Wilson?
Oh yeah, I'll put that in the private chat. So it's
I'm changing it right now. Noah.Wilson.
No, it's N Wilson. So NWILSON at Futurpreneur.
Futurpreneur.
Put in the private chat there. Futurpreneur.ca.
Let me know if I got it right. Oh, I gotta erase this. Wait a sec there, folks. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go. That's my email.
There you guys go. If you need to get when you get a hold of them. Tom, you guys seen this from IOPS.ca here. IOPS. All right, let's get right to it. Man, entrepreneurship, there's so many things. That's why we're kind of breaking it down into 4 shows. So we're going to get right to it. Go ahead there, Noah.
Yeah, so I want to get started on what's called the Entrepreneurship Pathway. And I like to be very pragmatic, and in the sense that I want to give you an opportunity to work with me. Like if you have 2 screens open, or if you just want to check things out, I want to show you how you can leverage our website to really help you, because I think we talked about this last time. Half the battle is Googling and finding information and then compiling it all together. And then once you've done that, it's like, oh my gosh, now I have to actually use this information. So what I want to do is help you with at least one stage in terms of finding a spot that can really kind of help you out and figure out where you are on the pathway, on the entrepreneurship pathway. Some of you might be closer to launching. Some of you might just be in the idea stage, and this will help you kind of figure out where you are in the entrepreneurship pathway. And what I'll do is I'll share my screen here. I'm getting used to this. I really like this program, by the way. It's a good program.
It is, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. Okay.
StreamYard, if anyone's asking, it's StreamYard. Check it out. Yeah.
It's a good one. I want to be very pragmatic. Like I said, we're gonna, everything I'm gonna do today is everything that you guys will be able to do yourselves, and that's always, that's always a presentation I think is ideal. So, if you haven't already had a chance, check out this video around Devon Fiddler. She's an amazing Cree entrepreneur from Waterhen Lake First Nation in northern Saskatchewan. So shout out to all the Saskatchewan folks out there, and she's a great entrepreneur. Owner of the She Native Goods, founder, I should say, and check out some of our other entrepreneurs, Indigenous entrepreneurs who've been through our program. Kendall Netmaker, you may know him. He's a Saskatchewan gentleman as well, very, very renowned, very impressive gentleman. And you can meet our team here. So if you click here, you'll be able to meet our team. But what we hear today is our resources. Futurpreneur has free resources for every entrepreneur out there. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the resource tab here. And what I want you to look for is the Entrepreneurship Pathway. So you just click on that. And the Entrepreneurship Pathway is a great way, to figure out your route to success, as we like to say. So from developing your idea, so being very early in the stage through, launching your business. This is a one-stop shop. Well, I guess it's like as good as you can pretty much get for organized into kind of the 4 key stages of the startup life cycle for businesses. So, you have a great idea, you want to be a business owner, but, how do you do it? So this is a great way to kind of conceptualize how you're going to be able to do it. And today we're going to be focusing on the develop stage because, like Nathan said, there's just so much to cover, and working one-on-one with me, you'll be able to figure out what stage you're in and how I can help you in that stage. But today we're going to focus on the develop stage. But I just want to quickly give a high-level overview of this. So if you have a business idea, the first step, is developing that idea of the startup of your startup idea. This stage, you'll find resources that will help you cultivate and identify good ideas, then clearly define and communicate them. We'll do a bit of an exercise to show you how you can do that today. So once you've been able to develop that idea and you figure out, hey, you know what, this is something I should look into a little bit more. I mean, this might actually be I might be onto something here. You're going to want to explore that idea, and basically a good business idea is only a starting point, right? You can have a great business idea, but all it is an idea right now. How do you take that idea and put it into an opportunity? And an opportunity is an idea that you can put into practice. Not all ideas can be put into practice logistically and reasonably, but this is a great way to see is, can you take this idea and can you turn it into an opportunity? And like I said earlier, Indigenous communities are the historically most underserved communities in Canada, but that also means that Indigenous communities have the most opportunities to create businesses because, how do you fill those gaps in our communities? Well, you could be that gap. Your business could fill that gap for your community members. Your communities could start paying you for the services that they've always wanted instead of outsourcing it to other businesses or not having it at all. So this is a great way to explore that, and we'll kind of dive deep into that. And this is about researching and testing your idea. How do you test it? Well, one of the best ways to test it is just to create a prototype or to make a sale or to just start. And see what customers want and see if they're actually interested in your idea. And then the build stage happens is once you've validated your idea through research and testing. I would say testing is probably more important than anything. So you've had a customer, you made some sales with your sweater, you've consulted a couple clients, you've done something and people are like, wow, this is a great idea and more people will want it. Then basically what you're going to want to do is start building. And this is the stage where you'd want to kind of really start working with me and helping you build through the key components of your business plan, which is the marketing, operations, and financial plan. And then, of course, once you've built your plan and have accessed financing through Futurpreneur, you're going to want to launch your business. And once you feel confident with planning and secure enough capital to execute, which you can do through Futurpreneur or any of our partners that I will help you kind of meet and leverage in terms of resources, it's time to launch your business. So this last stage provides the tools and resources for effective post-launch navigation. So we help through all stages. Like I said, once you've launched, we'll have a mentor for you for up to 2 years after disbursement, which will be, and disbursement just basically means when we give the loan to you and it hits your account. But we'll set you up with a mentor, either an entrepreneur themselves or someone with 15 years of industry experience in the industry that you're in. So very exciting. And throughout all of these stages, which we consider the pre-launch stages, I will be there to help you. Our entrepreneur in residence will be there to help you, and as well as the great workshops that we've been kind of alluding to earlier today. But what I want to do today is focus on the developing your business idea and really kind of just diving into that first. So what you're going to do is, if you've identified that you're in the develop stage and if you're on the call today, it's a good idea to just even check it out anyways. So you're going to click on develop your idea.
And that's at futurpreneur.ca.
Futurpreneur.ca, go to resources, Entrepreneurship Pathway, and you click on develop, right? So you can go really whatever page you land on, as long as you see these top things, you just find resources, Entrepreneurship Pathway, boom, you're there. And it's a nice one-stop place where you can find resources without having to Google everything, and then you're Googled everything and you're like, oh my gosh, that already exhausted me. So this is one easy way to figure out a good place to start. So what is a business idea, right? There are 5 basic types of business ideas. So bringing an existing idea into a new market, improving on an existing idea, merging 2 or more ideas, a completely new idea, or taking advantage of an opportunity using an existing idea and existing market. And
Sorry, this is stage one, eh?
This is stage one. So, well, sometimes you start with a customer. Sometimes, a business just happens. But if you're trying to, if you're really focused on figuring out where you fit within here, you can figure out what kind of business idea you have. So, bringing an existing idea into a new market. So, custom suits for younger male demographics. So, maybe your community, or maybe the nearest formal wear store is hundreds of miles away, and you want to have custom suits or something like that. Maybe that makes sense. Improving on existing idea. So maybe there's something in your community that people are using, but it's not really good enough, and you can see a way of improving that, and people will definitely, more than likely, if you've identified an issue with your community and there's a way to improve it, there's probably a good chance more people in the community have also identified that, but haven't seriously considered starting their own business to solve that idea. Sometimes the business idea might be, merging two or more ideas together. Board game cafe, that's a cool idea. You have board games, and then you bring in a cafe, like you bring in entertainment and the vibe of a cafe. It's cool.
And when you're playing board games, you're always like downtime, chilling out on a rainy day or at the cabin in the summer. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, we actually have a business in Winnipeg that's that exact model. It's great. I've actually been there. It's a great idea, and you can merge two ideas and make it viable. It could be a completely new idea, right? The example here would be like an empathy toy for schools, but really maybe it's an innovative idea that you've never thought. And it's important to acknowledge that Indigenous ways of knowing, are valuable ways that unfortunately, other demographics across the country haven't really appreciated yet. So in terms of, completely new ideas, I think the Indigenous community really have a competitive edge in terms of the ways of knowing and our ways of seeing the world, especially in terms of our relationship with our environment, and Nindinaway Maganadak, all of our relations and different principles that we can bring to the business realm that haven't always been there. So there's a huge opportunity for Indigenous communities. Taking advantage of an opportunity using an existing idea in an existing market. So you can, maybe there's an opportunity, maybe there's a business that's already doing what you think, what you love and do, but you feel like you can do better, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes, really what we say in the business community is competition drives innovation, right? So if there's two competitors in the same area, there's a good chance that because there's a competitor there, they're going to look to innovate, and that's how the world is able to create these amazing ideas and amazing opportunities, and really kind of become inventive. Competition isn't always a bad thing, but it is a challenge. So that's something you want to consider. Yeah. So talking about the business idea, it's one thing, but what I kind of want to stop here before we kind of go into how to cultivate good ideas and the different resources. But I want to kind of talk to you about the entrepreneurship mindset, the entrepreneurship mindset, right? Because that's an important part of being an entrepreneur is what is the entrepreneur mindset, and how is it different from other types of ways of earning a living? I talk to universities quite a bit, and because universities are a great spot to meet really brilliant and amazing Indigenous entrepreneurs, but you don't have to go to university, to be an entrepreneur. I should also mention that. But what I say is that what universities I've noticed really focus on is they have this phrase. It's called pathways to employment, right? But I always position, why aren't we looking at pathways to self-employment?
Yeah.
Yeah, pathways to self-employment, because that's a totally viable option for our communities. And I think what also happens is that when our youth go to communities, and even myself, that's happened with me and my friends as well, as we go to university, and why not, the goal should be also to how are we going to use this education and use the resources that we've been blessed to gain to go back to our communities to potentially open a business. And an example of that is, you go to university, you become a doctor. Are you going to stay in that metropolitan city, or could you open up your own clinic in your community where we're historically underserved in the health service field? That's a great idea. Or let's say you take kinesiology and you go to university. I mean, you could go to a sports clinic in the south or in a metropolitan city, but there's plenty of elders in the community and athletes in the community who could use a kinesiologist and physiotherapy, and that's a service that is underutilized in our community. So it's about taking ideas and figuring out pathways to self-employment and to really fill those gaps in our community. But in terms of the entrepreneurship mindset, it's different than being employed, because you have to make it happen, and there's a good way of kind of describing what it's like to be employed versus being self-employed. And I think you've seen both sides of the card there, Nathan. So I'd love to hear kind of your perspective on that as well, and to kind of to hear your perspective on the differences between being employed versus being self-employed, because it is quite different, and it's something to think about before you jump in. Sure.
Yeah, well, man, right now I am working. When they say for the man, you're working, it means you're working for somebody else or whoever you're working for. Right now I am, but I'm also doing this. But when I was full-time entrepreneur, I did that for about 7 years. And man, the biggest difference I think is when 5 o'clock or whenever your shift is over on a full-time job, when you're working for the man, it's done. And then you go home, chill, whatever. If something's messed up, I'll do it at work tomorrow. And then, if you're not the boss when you're working for the man, then that problem falls more or less likely on your boss, right? And it doesn't reflect on you, but a majority goes on your boss. Where you're an entrepreneur, there is no, when you're done your shift or whatever job you're doing and you get home, you still are on work mode. You still go. Like it's not even lying. It's like, it just depends what you're doing. But majority is it's 24/7, 365. You don't get holidays. You can get holidays if your business allows it. And you're always grinding. You're always grinding. But the really cool thing, I notice I lack this right now, is creativity. But when I was full-time entrepreneurship, my brain was spinning 180% more. Like, I would look at something and I was like, man, we could do this and that. I'd be driving and I was like, oh, what if we do this and that? And like, you're always trying to change. You're always trying to keep up with what's now and how you can bring that service, whatever you're trying to do, to your customer. You're always trying to improve. Like, you're always on. It seems like you're always on, which it could get a downfall. And that's where you got to know when to just step back, take a break, breather, refresh yourself, whatever that is, working out, going for a walk, spending time with your family, whatever it is. Just, you got to make sure you implement that. Same time, I guess, just when you're working for the man, but really when you're doing it for yourself as an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurs, you got to have a strong soul. You got to get ready to, people say no to you many times. Like, I mean, many times. And you got to know that when you fail, you're only succeeding for down the road. Yeah,
absolutely. You know what? I think you really hit up on all the on all the key points.
Yeah.
There's always, you gotta realize that there's pros and cons to being a business owner, but having that creative freedom, the ability to pursue pathways that you're really passionate about. There's also tax advantages to being self-employed, especially if you're an Indigenous entrepreneur located on there's that saying, location, location, location in business, and when you're an Indigenous entrepreneur, that can be more important, and the tax advantages of that. But it's also, it is hard work. I mean, when you're out in the community, you're still a business owner. You're representing your business. It's also not only your business brand, it's also your personal brand. So it's taking that into account, that it's not like you're once you're at the grocery store, you're still that business owner. You're still that person in the community that people will recognize you for. But at the end of the day, I think it's the ability to have that freedom and to pursue your passions, and to be able to really give it your all. And there's that saying, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life as well. So there's also that front, but it is absolutely challenging. But I think you touched on many of the aspects, and it's really about kind of reevaluating and just kind of being prepared, and not only preparing yourself, but preparing your family. Preparing the relationships around you, letting you know that you're going to be taking on a challenge, and you really need that support system and the support of your community. And what I would say is that preparing the people around you is very important, and clearing the deck, making sure that you're prepared to take this on and that challenge. But with that said, don't let that discourage you. Don't let that don't let that discourage you. Don't let that kind of get in your way of your dream. But it's something you should consider, and something that you shouldn't overlook. But I just wanted to kind of touch base with that, because it's something that we talk with entrepreneurship in terms of making sure that you're preparing yourself, and as well as your community around you, and your immediate circle, as they say. But that's part of the process. That's part of developing your business idea. That's part of making sure that that you're ready to go for before you launch your business, or before you really take that on, because it is a challenge. Steven.
No, Noah is he's helping future entrepreneurs, or even past ones that are still want to do the business in the entrepreneur world. He works with Futurpreneur in Canada.
Yeah, so thanks a lot, Steven. It's really nice to have you on the podcast today. So I'm a business development manager for Futurpreneur Canada. I help Indigenous entrepreneurs create their business plan, create their cash flows, and ultimately set them up with up to $60,000 of working capital financing, which is basically financing that is used for the operations of a startup, and we help get them from idea stage all the way up to pre-launch stage. And we also help businesses who have been launched within 12 months. But I'm a part of a fully Indigenous business development manager team who solely is dedicated to serving our Indigenous community. So very, very blessed to be a part of a program like this, and to be a part of a podcast where I can speak with like-minded individuals, and kind of talk about these amazing opportunities out there. But yeah, very nice to have you on the podcast today. But in terms of the development stage, I just kind of wanted to go back to that, and what we can do now, Nathan, and maybe we can go through what's called a validation map. And I do this with entrepreneurs who are thinking about launching a business and really taking on that challenge. And if you want to, we can quickly run through it. But I really kind of want to go through that. Do you think we have time for that today, Nathan? Or
yeah, and then we'll end it there, and then we'll carry on for the other 3 episodes. Just to remind you guys, this is part 1 of 4. We are going to go live every Tuesday in June, this evening at 7 p.m. Saskatchewan time. So this is only part 1. If you guys missed anything that you wanted to catch up on, this we are live. If you guys it says red anywhere, wherever you're watching that says live, that means we are live. But if it doesn't, this is you're watching the past show. So go ahead.
So you're on the develop stage. Today is focused on developing your business idea. So you looked at the different business idea types. You went to our resource section. You went to the Entrepreneurship Pathway. You have an idea you want to develop. You can check out all of our resources. I won't go through all of them today, but if you click these links, they'll help you get to some really good articles and resources. Social purpose business. The financial bottom line is not not the only bottom line, especially in our Indigenous communities. Having a social purpose to your business is also very important. And actually, businesses with a social purpose show that they actually have a better financial bottom line. Because a lot of the market today is very socially aware and like to support businesses with that social purpose as well. So these are some great articles about that. But I digress on that front. What I want to show you is another what's called a validation map, and I'll go a high level overview. I won't dive too deep into it. But I want to share my screen. I'm going to go to window validation map. Here we go. So, and let me know if you can see this or not there, Nathan. But what you really want to focus on is, if you've developed a business idea, you want it to be very focused. Have it, you find a particular industry, you find a particular product, you find a particular service. It's about that focused. The reality is that not everyone is going to want your product or service or business. It's about finding the best customer and the customer that's going to really value and find value in your product or service. So it's not about expanding or kind of a wide net. It's about kind of being very focused and finding that feasibility within the focused kind of view. But there's a concept called a validation map, and it's a great way where you can take your business idea and begin to see if you can validate it, if it has some legs to it, as they say, and really dive in. And I would say always, the two best spots to start is sometimes your business or idea starts with the customer or a business in mind. Maybe your business idea starts with a product or service, but you can't have, one can't be successful without the other. So what we're going to focus on is your product or service. So, it's best, what you can actually do is take a piece of paper, fold it, hot dog, fold it hamburger, as they say. Maybe that's from school, but from the old days, I remember my teachers. It's funny how things carry with you, eh? But take a piece of paper, folded hot dog, folded hamburger. Now you got 4 quadrants. Put product or service, put your best customer, put credibility, and then put your value proposition. And we'll kind of just quickly dive into those. So let's start off with your product or service. So be simple, be clear, and have a specific statement about what your business is. 1 to 2 sentence max. It doesn't have to be overly complicated, but basically you can list, what the customer is paying for. So the example here is online women's athletic wear. So the 2 categories of what they would be paying within this focused realm. So they're focusing on women, right? And they're focusing on athletic wear. Within these 2 fields, we're looking at hiking pants and a sweatshirt that is related in there, and they're kind of breaking it down like that. But what I think is almost even more important is the customer. Who's your best customer? And there's 2 ways of figuring out what we call your business model, and that really is meaning there's lots of different ways that business model is a term that's really thrown around a lot, but it's who is your customer? Who is your main customer? It's not everyone. So B2C is a term meaning business to consumer. If you hear B2C, that's business to consumer. That means that your business is going to be providing a service or product to a consumer. And what you really want to do, if you remember, I said you really want to narrow your focus. So basically, you have a product or service, you feel like it's going to be very successful, and you want to focus on a particular area. You could love athletic wear, but maybe you want to be the world's best, in women's athletic wear. For an example. So, given the fact that you want to focus on online women's athletic wear clothing store, then how are you going to find those women, or which women are you going to want to target? Because as we all know, women is a huge demographic, right? What age do you want to focus on, right? Because someone who's 18 to 39 is much different than someone who's in their 50s to, let's say, 60s or something like that, right? What do they do? Where do they hang out? where are you going to find them? So are they avid hiker? Are they enjoying traveling? Because if they are avid hiker, maybe that's part of your marketing strategy. Maybe you're looking at hiking websites and putting ads there. Maybe they enjoy traveling, so maybe you're going to look for traveling websites that relate to your clothing, or maybe you're looking at other businesses that might sell to consumers that enjoy traveling. And what region are you in? But these can go way into, you can go really into depth into this. You can even talk about the psychographics, it's called. What is their tendencies? Really, the more focused, the better, because your marketing is going to be more focused. The more you're going to be able to find the customers you want. The other one I want to talk to is you can have a business where you're selling your business to other businesses, and that's very important. So if it is a business and you want to focus on this women's athletic wear to another business, then you have to look for specialty athletic stores. Like if most of your sales are going to be through other businesses, you're going to want to focus on those businesses that actually sell those stores. What is their sales per year? How many employees do they have? Where are they located? Is it a chain? Is it a mom and pop shop? And where is it located? Is it in your local community? So that's another region as well. I might have the wrong file up here, so I might, but we'll just go through this just high level. And credibility, this is important. So credibility is, why are you the best person, to sell this product or service? Because a customer is going to ask, or they're going to assume, why should I buy this off of you, from this next person? And building up your credibility as a business owner is very important. So, telling your story, our people are storytellers. So I would always, focus on your story here. Did you go to school? Like, what is your background? Are you an athlete? Were you an athlete in university or in your high school days? Maybe you're a coach. Maybe you're, maybe you've developed multiple athletic programs for your community. So what have you done, and why are you so passionate about this particular, product or service? And then how can you build, trust how can you build, customer trust in what you do? And that can come from your background and whatnot, but don't let that stop you in terms of credibility. It doesn't have to be from education. It doesn't have to be from, like different places, but it is very important to tell your story and why you should build trust in your product as well. And the last one is your value proposition. So, you can have a product or service, you can have a best customer, but unless you what differentiates you from other online women's athletic wear clothing store, right? Because there can be multiple different ones, and what really differentiates you is your value proposition. Maybe you're an athletic retailer for women's athletic wear, and you're focused on women between the ages of 28 and 39, and you're really focusing on the women who really, let's talk about psychographics here. Psychographics just means, what do they value? Like, what are different behaviors, or what are things that they really will cherish? Maybe that value proposition is that you have a sustainable way of creating this athletic wear. That's what really differentiates you. Maybe you have an innovative way that your athletic wear really sets and differentiates your business. What is that one? And it's better to be very focused here. You should have one kind of differentiator that you really want to hone in. What makes you the best at what you do? What sets you apart? And that's really what that value proposition is. You can have a product or service that's similar to other competitors. You can have a customer, but really, what's that one thing that you want to be known for? When someone snaps their fingers, or when someone tells you a story, I need athletic wear, but I just, I'm really like socially aware about the impacts of clothing and fast clothing business. And someone's like, oh, you know what? I just heard about an Indigenous owned business that's providing sustainable athletic wear, and I want to really support them. And that could be that thing. Sometimes the important part is that maybe it's not the exact person you're selling to, but maybe the story of your business will help someone else put people onto your business. You know, if you're not able to encapsulate this in an easy way in terms of tying all of these things in together, you won't have a pitch. And once you have all of these factors together, you can make a very strong pitch. And a pitch is, have you heard of an elevator pitch, Nathan?
Oh yeah, isn't it like you gotta have your best stuff like in like right to the point in like 1 minute or something like that?
Yeah,
or even 30 seconds.
Yeah, so I can give, maybe we'll end off on this and help entrepreneurs with a pitch. So this validation map that I just showed you will really help you hone in a pitch. So, let's say you're in an elevator with someone and they're saying, "Oh, what do you do?" "I own a business." They say, "Oh, tell me your business." You should be able to tell that person, in a single sentence or within a very concise period of time before those elevators open, what will they get? What is your product or service? Is it, what will they get? Who's going to love it? Maybe it's not the person you're talking to, but maybe that person you're talking to has an auntie or a nephew or a niece that will really enjoy your product. Who will love it? And maybe the person you're talking to might not be the person, but if you let them know who exactly it's for, and then what will people find awesome about this? What sets it apart? What is that one thing that really kind of drives home your business? And that will really help drive, sales and referrals and things to your business. Sometimes the person you're talking to isn't the person you're going to be getting sales from, but if you give them a very concise way of saying, "Oh, I found, I was talking to someone the other day, they have this really great Indigenous business. It's an athletic wear company for women. They're kind of focused on younger women between the ages of 29 and 30 who are really into hiking. And the best part of their business is that their fabrics are sustainable, and because you're hiking and because you're doing athletic things and you're out in nature and you don't want things to fray, it's one of the most let's say strong, there's a new innovative way of they're doing the fiber connections, and it makes it, exponentially stronger, like about setting it apart, because what is your product? It's women's athletic wear. Who's it for? Well, it's for women between the ages who like hiking and like traveling. And what sets it apart? Well, it's sustainable, and it has a new innovative way of providing sustainable wear that prevents it from fraying if you're out in the on the lands and learning. So it's about really diving into that and being able to pitch, because the person you may be talking to might not be the one who buys it off you, but they might know someone who will, and they'll be able to refer to you. But if your story is like 5 minutes long and by the end of the conversation they're not sure what you do and what your business is and who's it for, it won't come up to them when they talk to that niece or that auntie or that nephew or whoever they might talk into their immediate network that might help your business and help grow your business. So it's very important to keep that concise.
Yeah, the good old elevator pitch when, I actually got to get my pitch down to a point, but I was just thinking while you're explaining that, it's like, what is my elevator pitch?
You know what? It is actually one of the most challenging things you can do. And and one thing I will say is being authentic is probably the most important part of your pitch. If you stumble, if you're not sure about, because sometimes people don't like, I think just based on general, like, if if they know that you're like a salesman or you're that guy, like, hey, I got the answers for everything, they might not see your your down to earth nature. I can't speak right now. It's about 9, so I lost it in my region. But being authentic, being true to yourself, stumbling over your words is fine, but if you can at least dive in, like the three things, just think about this. What is your business? Who is it? What is your product or service? Who is it for? And really what sets you apart? And if you can put that together, then you have a good elevator pitch. And it doesn't have to be smooth. It doesn't have to be perfect. People like authentic people, right? So so sometimes that actually helps your pitch if you're nervous, or because it shows that you really care and you care about what they think, right? So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome, man. Yeah, hey, man, we said we were going to go for an hour and we stuck to that. We're at an hour and 4 minutes right now. So, you guys, awesome. Hey, Noah, man, I learned a few things today, and I'm actually looking forward to the other three podcasts, which is every Tuesday, remind you. So next Tuesday, we're doing part 2, which will be, let's see here. June 15th is the next one, June 22nd after that, and then we finish it off just before summer starts, June 29th, 7 p.m., where you have part 3, or part 2, 3, and 4 coming up. So Noah Wilson, the email's right there, and Wilson at futurpreneur.ca. You guys can reach out to him if you're like 18 steps ahead of us and you just want to get to him and maybe pick his brain more, or chat with him in person, or whatever have you. Call him, whatever, do a FaceTime with him. Noah is more than happy to help you with that. But Noah, I'm really looking forward to this. There's some great things I think you're going to be able to bring to the table for more Indigenous. I guess Indigenous entrepreneurs, but Indigenous. What would you call them? Pre-entrepreneur? Is there a word?
Well, you could say. I would just say, potential Indigenous or pre-launch businesses, or
you guys know what we're trying to say.
Yeah.
Before you take that step.
But like I said, like, we also help businesses who have been in operations less than 12 months. But if you've been operating more than that, like, feel free to reach out. I do have, part of my job is to connect with the overall, we call the business ecosystem. There's always these fancy words in the community, but really what it just means is that there's a large business community out there that is here to support you and here to help you expand your business. Just my organization focuses on the future, which is of course our youth, so the ages of 18 to 39. But happy to help any way I can, and it's always a pleasure to be on this. And next week we'll be focusing on the explore stage, which is a big challenge. It's a challenging stage, and maybe I'll give you a tour of our business plan writer and as well as our entrepreneurship pathway on the explore stage as well. So
awesome. Definitely looking for that. Looking forward to that. Awesome, Noah. So we'll see you next Tuesday. Just hold on here before I shout out. So anything you want to finish off before we shut her down?
I just want to say Chi Miigwech, hi to everyone out there who was able to listen. Like I said, Indigenous entrepreneurs, we're the future. I mean, we're the fastest growing demographic in Canada. We've been historically the most underserved communities in all of Canada, but that also means that we have the most opportunity to really to be able to be the ones providing services for our communities, and that could be through your business into the future. So if you have a dream, if you have a passion, you can do it, and there's supports out there, and there's people out there, and there's your community out there that is willing to support you. So don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to at least check out your idea, and sometimes it's just a matter of exploring that idea, and sometimes it goes towards you launching the business, sometimes it doesn't. But I always say, whether you go for it or whether you don't, at least you looked into it, and you can look back and you can say, I looked into it, and I would always rather look back and say, I tried it out. It worked out, and it was an amazing opportunity, or it didn't, and at least I know. And what I would say is, you can do it, and it's just a matter of looking into it and reaching out and seeing if you can create a viable business, or maybe you already have and you want to take it to the next stage. Also, I will end on this. We have a side hustle program. So if you have a full-time business, you can still have a side hustle, and we still have a program for that. So so you don't always have to have a full-time startup business to work with Futurpreneur. If you have a side hustle, if you have a thing that you do on the side, I have a colleague who said a lucrative hobby. Isn't that a good word? A lucrative hobby. You can have a side hustle. We can get you up to $15,000 of working capital financing. You can get 5, 10, or 15,000. You don't need that. Yeah. So that's a one thing I want to bring up, because I know our people have a lot of side hustles, and that's a completely a way to supplement your income if you have a full-time job. So that's one other thing I will leave on.
That is amazing.
Yes,
all
sir.
that free money out there, not free money, but it's there, you guys. If you're always wanting to know where you can get the help and the money, hey, Noah's your guy for Futurpreneur, and he does take care of the Indigenous entrepreneurs. So like I said, I just put down there part 2 with Noah, June 15th. And this is all going to be pertaining how to get into being an entrepreneur, resources out there. You know, just Noah's going to help you guys out and his team, and totally looking forward to it. So with that, you guys, I want to take this time and thank you for joining tonight. Share this video. Go back and skim through it if there's parts you want to see and hear about. Yeah, we will be with Noah next week in all of June, and totally looking forward to that. So with that, Noah, thank you, and we'll see you next week. And you guys, I'm out of here. Oh, sorry. Noah, you got to say see you later. You off.
No worries, my brother. No, yeah, absolutely. See you guys later. Looking forward to it. Thanks for everyone who joined. And don't forget to register for the events coming up. We have a workshop on the 22nd and 24th. And we have a great webinar on Thursday, June 10th, 4:30 Saskatchewan time. How to become a First Nation entrepreneur. We're going to have Destiny Peter there. We're going to have all of Square One, which is a great business development organization, as well as SEAF, otherwise known as Saskatchewan Indian Equity Foundation. So make sure you don't miss that.
Awesome. All right, man. Thank you. And the rest of you guys, we'll see you next week. This is IOPS.ca signing out. Don't forget to check out the Indigenous Job Board. We'll see you at the next one.